Hello everyone, this is Asainar, Assistant Professor in Department of Commerce from the E-Content Development Center, Majlis Arts and Science College, Pramanur. In this video, I would like to talk about what is redemption of preference shares from the paper Corporate Accounting belongs to 3rd semester BCom. I hope at the end of this video, you the viewers will be able to understand what is redemption of preference shares and what are the provisions or conditions to be kept in mind while redeeming preference shares, and also the different sources available for making this redemption. Before entering to the main topic, let's have a small look onto what is preference shares. As we know, there are two types of major shares. One is equity shares and other is preference shares. Equity shares are always representing the ownership of a business concern, but preference shares have some kind of difference from equity shares because these type of shares have special features, like the shareholders will be able to get a fixed sum of dividend, and also these shareholders have preference in payment of dividend and also preference in payment of capital before making the payment to equity shareholders. But these shareholders have a down point, and that is these shareholders will not have the right of voting. Whatever it is, both these shares are used for raising the capital to meet the capital requirement of a business concern for the smooth running of a business concern. Next, let's move our main topic, that is redemption of preference shares. What is redemption of preference shares? It simply means repayment of the amount to the shareholders. That means while we collecting the capital from the preference shareholders, the company may have agreed with the shareholders about the repayment of the fixed sum that is collected from the shareholders. So within that specified time period or before the time period, at the discretion or at the desire of the company must pay the fixed sum to the preference shareholders. But there is a maximum time period to this kind of shares, that is maximum up to 20 years. That means that preference shares must be redeemed within 20 years from the issue. But in case of infrastructure companies, the time limit is extended to 30 years. So within this 20 years or 30 years, the repayment must be made to the preference shareholders. Finally, whatever be the date can be fixed by the company. The repayment to the preference shareholders is our matter. So redemption of preference share means making the payment that we have already collected from the preference shareholders to them. That's all. Next, let's move on to the next topic, the provisions or conditions regarding redemption of preference shares. As per section 55 of Indian Companies Act 2013, there are some conditions or provisions that we should have to follow while redeeming these preference shares. Okay, the firstmost point is only fully paid up shares can be redeemed, which means partly paid up shares of a company cannot be redeemed or cannot be repaid to the shareholders, because the full amount on such type of shares is not collected by the company or not yet received by the company. If there is any partly paid up shares in our question, we must assume that the shares are fully paid up. So to convert these partly shares into fully paid up shares, we have to write down some type of journal entries. Then the next point is the shares can be redeemed out of profits available for the dividend distribution or out of the fresh issue of new shares. This provision states that the various sources available for making the repayment, which means the company have to find some amount for the repayment to the preference shareholders. For that purpose, the company have two types or two methods or two ways of source. The first source is profits available for dividend distribution, which may include profit and loss account, general reserve account, retained earnings. But there may be a chance for having special reserves like capital reserve. These reserve cannot be used for the purpose of redemption of preference shares. And also there is another way, that is issue of new shares, which means the company can issue new shares to the public. While issuing the new shares, the company can collect new cash. By using that fund, the company can make the payment to existing preference shareholders. So there is two ways to the company to make the payment or to collect the or to find the amount required for the redemption. One is profit and another is new shares. The company can also use both the combination of these two, that is partly from the profit and partly from the new issue of shares. The third point is premium on redemption can be paid out of profits or the security premium reserve. This also shows that the source available for making the premium amount. What is the premium amount? It is the additional or extra amount that the company have to pay to the preference shareholders in extra to the basic or the actual amount. So in addition to the actual amount, the company may have to pay some extra amount to the preference shareholders. That amount is called a premium. And here the provision states that this premium amount can be paid out of profits or the existing security premium reserve. But there is an amendment which was held during the last year, that is section 133. Based on this amendment, all the companies like profit oriented companies or such companies whose main aim is to earn profits, that companies must apply the act or the section 133, because the section 133 says that only those companies that we have already mentioned, profit making companies, can only take the amount only from a profit account. They cannot use the amount from security premium account. The account can only be used by the companies other than whose main aim is not making or earning profit. But this amendment is not mentioned in our university syllabus. So now we don't have to consider about this amendment. So we can take the amount for the payment, for making the payment of premium both from a profit account and also from security premium account. Then the next point that we have, where the redemption is out of profits, an amount equal to the nominal value of share must be transferred to CRR, that is capital redemption reserve. The reason behind creating this CRR, that is capital redemption reserve, is to comply with the section 55, because the section 55 says that the amount in capital, that is the share capital amount, should not be redeemed after the redemption. That means before and after the redemption, the amount in share capital must be equal. But while we redeeming, at the time of redemption, the preference share will automatically redeemed. So the share capital is reduced. But if the redemption is out of profit, an amount equal to the nominal value must be transferred to capital redemption reserve. So the reduced amount from the preference share is credited to CRR. This statement can be completed with the help of the next provision, that is CRR account can only be used for the fully paid up bonus shares. That means while the company issuing bonus share, the amount needed for the issue of bonus share can be taken from this account, CRR account. So the amount from this CRR account is automatically converted to share capital. That is why the amount in share capital before and after redemption is same. Then the last point we have, a notice regarding the redemption must be forwarded to the registrar of companies. That should be done within 30 days. That means within 30 days all the matters regarding the redemption should be stated in a notice or mentioned in a notice, and the notice must be sent to the registrar of companies. So these are all the provisions or conditions regarding the redemption of preference shares. Okay, the topics that we have discussed today are preference shares, redemption of preference shares, the conditions or the provisions regarding preference shares, and the different sources. That are the two sources available for the redemption. I hope all the points are cleared. Thank you for watching.